One of the most recognizable faces in the United States is apparently difficult to find. Arizona prosecutors have been trying and failing for weeks to serve Rudy Giuliani with notice of his indictment related to an alleged scheme to overturn the 2020 election results in the Grand Canyon state. John Miller, CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, is here to help us crack the case. John, we know prosecutors and investigators for the state of Arizona say that they've made multiple attempts to locate Giuliani with no luck. What do you think's going on?
When those investigators from Arizona showed up at his apartment in New York, they said they watched his podcast, which has him live in a background that they said matches the pictures of the apartment, which is now for sale for $5.7 million, so that they know he was home. But the doorman said he wouldn't accept service of this notice of indictment.
Rudy Giuliani is a lot of things. A cautionary tale, a Shakespearean tragedy, but mostly Rudy Giuliani is a prick.
No, this is Rudy Giuliani with the Rudy Giuliani Show, the third day that it's live cast. Fourth day. Oh, today's Thursday already. Wow.
Don't feel bad for Rudy. You might have read that he lost his radio show at WABC and is now close to, if not already has, lost his show on Newsmax. And he's not just broke. Giuliani declared bankruptcy late last year after he was ordered to pay $148 million to two Georgia election officials he falsely accused of committing fraud in the 2020 race between Trump and Biden.
Poll workers being observed changing votes.
That certification that was done by your state is a complete phony.
These votes are too illegitimate to certify.
Accusations that cause these poll workers to hide for fear of being murdered by Trump supporters. Trump supporters that Rudy egged on.
But what happened to me in the general context of everything that's happening, I'm a symbol of what could happen to you. Worse than some, but not as bad as others. I mean, I don't pretend to be going through what the poor people on the January 6 people went through.
Rudy's assets are around $10 million, but most of that is real estate, and it's now on the market to pay off these judgments. Rudy is very close to losing everything. And while some blame Trump, I blame Rudy. Giuliani lost everything by spreading lies about both the 2020 election and January 6th. And as you just heard, now faces charges in Arizona.
I think they're witnessing incredible irresponsibility. Incredibly damaging messages being sent to the rest of the world about how democracy functions.
But Rudy lost it all for lying about something everyone knows is false.
Let's have trial by combat. I'm willing to stake my reputation. The president is willing to stake his reputation on the fact that we're going to find criminality there.
Trump lost, and January the 6th was a desperate attempt to orchestrate a coup to reverse the election results. He lied, first as Trump's lawyer, kind of, in that Trump never paid him, and he still doesn't support him as he loses everything. And he lies now as a shriveled old man, desperately hanging on while begging Trump to at least acknowledge him.
I know crimes. I can smell them. You don't have to smell this one. I can prove it to you 18 different ways.
President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, did not provide any evidence as he and the campaign's legal team floated the unsubstantiated idea that President-elect Joe Biden's win was the result of a widespread operation to rig the vote, blaming everything from Democratic donors to Venezuela.
It's disgraceful what happened.
The freewheeling 90-minute press conference left Giuliani with what appeared to be hair dye streaming down his face. And while he said this publicly about Pennsylvania's election rules,
Clearly illegal, clearly voter fraud, easily provable.
Some people still call Rudy America's mayor, but that was a short-lived moment where Rudy appeared to be something he never was, a pivotal leader in a critical moment. But the truth is, he was nothing at all like the guy you saw on the cover of Time magazine. No, he's much closer to Trump, the sociopath who uses people and throws them away when he gets what he needs.
Crazily, you and Donald Trump are the ones, will charges be filed? First of all, are you fearful of that?
No, why should I be fearful of it? If they do, I'll fight it. I mean, I fought everything they've done so far.
Giuliani has been a pain in the ass for Newsmax since day one. In fact, Newsmax, starting back in 2022, wouldn't let him go live on the air because he consistently pushed stolen election lies. And as you might remember, Newsmax was hit with not one, but two major defamation lawsuits from the voting machine companies Dominion and Smartmatic, which were central to the BS conspiracy theories pushed by Rudy and Trump, claiming the race was rigged. WABC had put up with Giuliani's conspiracy theories for years before pulling the plug. Apparently, that America's mayor crap has its limits.
I'm not even know if that's a crime, colluding about Russians.
No, it isn't truth. Truth isn't truth. Whether it happened or didn't happen, it's not illegal.
This week, WABC issued a statement explaining that Giuliani had been warned time and time again his lies were putting the station in legal jeopardy. Rudy was continuing to double down on his defamatory comments about the Georgia election workers on social media, leading to additional filings against him by the plaintiffs in that lawsuit. I mean, what is wrong with him?
There certainly is enough evidence to disqualify a certain number of ballots.
You're just lying to the American people when you say there's no evidence.
Rudy's bizarre fascination with Trump is similar to the primates who vote for tiny fingers, and that Rudy apparently believes Trump's lies, which blows me away. I mean, Giuliani wasn't a greeter at a Kentucky Walmart. He was a freaking prosecutor and mayor of the country's largest city. How does someone like that go this far off the rails? The answer's simple. He never was who you thought he was. The positive for Giuliani was 9/11. The negative, the rest of his life. Back in the 80s, when Rudy prosecuted organized crime in New York City, he was fascinated by it for a simple reason.
I know crimes. I can smell them.
Rudy's father and uncle had mafia ties. His uncle Leo ran a loan sharking and gambling operation out of a Brooklyn bar and used his father Harold as muscle to collect unpaid debts. Giuliani's cousin was a mob associate who ran a major car theft ring, and the FBI suspected that his cousin, who went to school with Rudy and attended Rudy's first wedding, was involved in several murders. Which brings us to Trump. These two had a weird relationship dating back 40 years, but the roles were always clear. Trump was a daddy, and Rudy was the bride.
It's Giuliani showing his softer side dressed in drag in a comedy skit with Donald Trump.
You know, you're really beautiful.
The spoof was filmed 16 years ago when Giuliani was mayor of New York for a charity dinner, so it was all in good fun.
Oh, you dirty boy! Starting in 2010, at Trump's bequest, Rudy started going on the Sunday morning show spreading the Obama birth certificate BS. He was relentless, doing 2 or 3 shows each Sunday morning, all of which were orchestrated by Donnie, who loved the attention. And they both knew it was a lie.
Unconditional victory against them.
And Rudy, along with Lev Parnas, went to Ukraine on Trump's behalf, trying to manufacture dirt on Biden, which has finally been officially discredited by Comer and Jordan's failed inquiry. But it was the lies Rudy told about the 2020 election that finally did him in. And now he's losing it all. So the question is why? Those of us covering Trump daily for the last decade shake our heads, and we ask that question every day. Why would a mayor of one of the largest cities in the world, whose fame and fortune grew after 9/11 into almost mythic proportions, throw it all away for a guy who is without a doubt a sociopathic grifter that has no friends and turns on everyone who trusts him? The answer's simple, because they're the same. Rudy Giuliani wasn't America's mayor. He's a con artist, and Donald Trump is his muse. Some might feel for Rudy, but you'd be wasting your time. Rudy, like Diaper John, care for no one but themselves. And I find it not ironic in the least that they both attended weddings for their third wives. No one can stand either one of them. And while Rudy's fate seems to be hanging on Trump's future, Trump couldn't care less. Tiny Fingers will forever look at Rudy like a one-night stand at a truck stop deep in the belly of the very red states they secretly loathe. And while Trump's fate is uncertain, Rudy's future is clear.
Don't do this to me.
Say goodnight, Rudy.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Damn right.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I'm Chip Franklin.